All right, so today we're going to use SOHCAHTOA to solve right triangles, specifically their side lengths. So solving right triangles, okay, using SOHCAHTOA. I'm running out of room. That's a really bad handwriting. So solving right triangles using SOHCAHTOA. Okay, so let's look at a sample here, problem. Let's put 20 degrees here. We have a right angle there, 9, and let's put x here. I'm trying to find x. Okay, so I can't use the Pythagorean theorem because I don't have the other side length. I can't use 30, 60, 90 or 45, 45, 90 because I don't have those measurements, right? So we have to use SOHCAHTOA. And so this is the way you do it. I circle my angle. I say, okay, that's my angle of interest, okay? It's the angle of interest. So I'm looking at that angle. In terms of this angle, what is 9? Is it the adjacent? Is it the hypotenuse? Or is it the opposite? Well, it's the opposite, right? It's the opposite of that angle. And what is x? Well, the x is the adjacent, the thing we're trying to find. Okay, so using SOHCAHTOA, which trig function should I use? Well, which one has adjacent and opposite in it? Well, it's not this one because this one has opposite and hypotenuse. It's not this one because this has adjacent and hypotenuse, so it has to be the tangent. So that tells me which one I'm going to use. So we're going to do tangent. And then remember, we put the angle beside. So what was the angle? 20 equals the ratio. So the ratio, again, is opposite over the adjacent. So the opposite of 20 is 9 over x. Now, the tangent of 20 is just a number, okay? And remember, we got to make sure our calculator is in degree mode or we're not going to get the right answer. So I can place this thing over a 1, and now it becomes this little cross multiplication thing, right? So what is x times the tangent of 20? Well, it's just x tangent of 20, right? And that's equal to 9. Now, what I have is a cross multiplication product, basically, and what I need to do is I need to get rid of that tangent of 20. So remember, tangent of 20 is just a number, so all I have to do is divide. So I just divide this by the tangent of 20, and we divide this by the tangent of 20. Those will go away, and I'll be left with x being equal to 9 divided by the tangent of 20. Now, 9 divided by the tangent of 20, I'm going to put that in my calculator. So 9 divided by the tangent of 20 is equal to approximately 24.73. And so the length of x is 24.73. So that's kind of how we do this. We just kind of figure out what trig function I need to use, right? And then we just go from there. Okay, so let's do a couple more examples of just using trig. So let's take a look at this triangle. We have x. I really don't like that. That's a little bit too. Let's make it a little thinner. I got a right triangle where I have 10, 42 degrees, and x. So that's 42 degrees. Man, my handwriting's awful. I'm sorry, guys. So here's what we got. SOHCAHTOA again. So using SOHCAHTOA, we need to figure out which trig function we're going to use. All right, so using my angle, I need to identify what I have. So 10 is the adjacent because it's right beside it, okay? And you may say, well, x is beside it. Yeah, but it's the hypotenuse because it's the one across from the right angle. So which one has a and h in it? Well, it's not sine, it's not tangent, it's the cosine. So I'm going to use the cosine. And the cosine always has an angle beside it, which is 40, is equal to the adjacent over the hypotenuse. In our case, it's going to be 10 over x, because we're looking for the hypotenuse. So again, we're just going to do the same thing we did with that tangent problem. We're going to go ahead and throw this over a 1. We're going to cross multiply, and we're going to get x cosine of 40 equals 10. Because 10 times 1 is 10. And what I want to do then is I want to divide both sides by the cosine of 40. So that means I have x equaling 10 over the cosine of 40. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it at my calculator again, making sure it's in degree mode. 10 divided by the cosine of 40 equals approximately 13.05, which represents that piece right there. All right, so let's do one more problem, okay? Let's do one more problem. All right, so let's get a blank page here. All right, let's take a look at this one. I've got 32 degrees here. I have 7 here, and I have x here. Man, my handwriting's getting a little bit better, huh? Okay, not really, but we'll try it. So we're going to put a right angle here. SOHCAHTOA. So let's use our angle to identify what this is. This appears to be the adjacent. This appears to be the opposite. And it is because I don't have the hypotenuse. So looking at my trig functions, I'm going to use the tangent again. So I have the tangent of 32 equals the opposite over the adjacent. This time x is in the top, and that's okay. We're still going to cross multiply. So I'm going to have that over a 1. So it's going to be 7 times the tangent of 32 equal to x times 1. Okay. We don't put 7 on the other side because it can get confusing. It could look like the tangent of 327, and we don't want that. We want the tangent of 32 times 7. So I like to put it out front. Now, if you look, x doesn't have anything with it, and so we actually just have to put this in the calculator. So we just put this in the calculator the way it looks, 7 tangent of 32. And that's going to be 4.37. So x is equal to 4.37. Now, in some problems, you may be asked to find this other side as well. So you may be asked to find this guy right here. Well, if you want to find that, you can use trig, right? Or you can even use the Pythagorean theorem, because you already know the Pythagorean theorem, and if you have two sides, you can use the Pythagorean theorem to find that third side. And a lot of times I see students do that. It's a little bit easier because you're not as accustomed to learning the trig yet. So you could just do 7 squared plus 4.37 squared equals c squared, and then go through and solve it using the Pythagorean theorem. But again, that's only if you have to find that other side, right? So I would find one of them first, then find the other one using the Pythagorean theorem. But you can use trig. You can use whatever part you have. So just start with your angle. From your angle, try to figure out whether or not you have the adjacent, the opposite, or the hypotenuse. Then figure out which trig function you need to use, and you'll be okay.